Alright kids, I'm no chef, but today we are doing just a simple spaghetti bolognese sauce. So,
are you doing it sideways?
Yeah, it's sideways, no worries. So we're starting out by chopping up an onion.
That's beautiful. That's cool.
We put the pan on, just on low to start with. So my idea here is just really to show some basic skills. Basic is the key operative word there. Maybe just as a way to help get a few of you started, if you don't know where to start. Different life skills. So if you have anything that you want to know, anything you want to learn, as a dad, I'll do my best to help out. First key here is when you're chopping up stuff, keep your fingers away from the blade. I have taken the tip off my finger a couple times. It's not the most nice thing in the world. Now, of course, you can always follow recipes. Recipes are fine. It's all good. Also, it's a good way to get you started. But we have to remember that food is still what you like. So don't be afraid to experiment, do things a little different. To make things what you like. Maybe you like a little more onion, maybe a little less onion. Oh, I'm crying. If you keep the onions in the fridge, you won't cry so much. A little more garlic, a little less garlic. Yeah, it's all kind of what you like. I've seen a few different ways as far as getting the garlic out of its skin. I think just the one I usually use the most is once I cut the ends off, I just smash it. Put the edge of the knife on there, and then you can just take the skin right off. Sure, you've smashed it up a little bit, but big deal, you're gonna chop it anyway. Okay, so got some garlic, we got some onions. Maybe get this fired up a little bit more. One more garlic, why not? A little more never hurt. Alright, so again, I just chop off the ends and squish that sucker. There we go, and the skin comes right off, just like that. And then we're going to throw a little olive oil in here. Now definitely you want to use olive oil. You don't want to use like a seed oil. Those things aren't good for you. I don't care who says it, they're not good for you. Part of it is once you heat things up, you don't want the oil going rancid. Not good for you. Not good for you. Is that okay? Gives you
Perfect.
It's perfect.
If you do it crappy, then you'll figure out how to do it better next time.
So basically, fats are good. Fats are good. We like fats.
Fats.
But once you start messing
Dad.
with fats,
Call it plus sized.
plus size. No, we're talking about fat. Like
Call it plus
olive oil.
size. Call it plus
You
size.
don't want to use. You could use butter. Butter's fine.
Plus size.
But once you use something that's mixed up a little bit, like say a margarine, you heat those things, they start causing tons of free radicals, which are bouncing around on the inside of you and causing lots of problems, health problems. So
Can I grab it on you?
olive oil, need that on you. All right, we'll get that fired up a little bit. We'll open up the meat.
I should also do. I change the angle sometimes. Just make it a little bit different at some part. Like however, and just like change the angle, put it something here or something.
I need a GoPro, man.
Please do.
Silly. Alright, so I got this stuff cooking here. Now, when I make this in the summer, I've usually grown my own tomatoes, and therefore I will take tomatoes and I just stick those in a blender, blitz them up, and then I would throw that in here. But since I don't have any fresh tomatoes, we're going to be using just cans tonight. Alright, so that's just about good there. Everything's all browned up. Now, I buy a lean meat. I don't buy the cheap meat that has a lot more fatty content to it. Now, usually if you're in the store, you can pretty much just tell. I mean, it'll say on there anyway, but if it looks pretty good, like pretty red, that's probably more lean. If it has a lot more white to it, then it's got a lot more fat content in there. Now, of course, you do run the risk, and I think it's probably more of an issue maybe in North America. We're in Luxembourg, in Europe here, and so we are pretty lucky in the sense that we have a pretty high quality of food here. But I would be curious, of course, if I was taking a meat that looked extra red, that maybe it could be dyed into making you think that you're getting a higher quality meat or less content of fat in your meat than what you're expecting. So now that runs the thing of, well, what do we do now, right? Because we've got all this juice in here in the bottom, and that's basically just, some water content and some fat content. Now I just leave it because I have nothing against fat, as long as it's a good quality of fat. So I'm just going to leave it and go from here. Now, of course, if you were having a lesser quality meat with a lot more fat content, I would be more inclined to dump some of that. I'm going to turn the heat down on here. Now, again, I'd normally use some fresh tomatoes and blitz them up or put them in the blender. Don't have that because it's winter and I'm all out of my fresh tomatoes. So I'm basically just taking well, it says pulp fine, so it's blended tomatoes in a can. Now, And there you go, there's another argument too, right? So fresh tomatoes out of your garden that's obviously the best option. Then you've got fresh tomatoes from the store. Now the thing is they pick those things before they're ripe because they have to go through the transportation process and everything. You don't want them getting all battered and bruised and then getting overripe before they actually got on the shelf. So there is an argument of having canned tomatoes because they tend to get picked when they're more ripened because they're just getting blitzed up anyway. Whatever's the truth, I don't know. I just don't know. And put a few cans of this in here. Alright, so we've got a few cans of tomatoes in there. I'm going to turn up the heat again a little bit, try and get a little bit more of that water content out of there. Boil some of it off. And I guess you could say there's also a balance between how much do you cook it? How high of a temperature do you cook it? Because you don't want to be burning off all the vitamins and minerals in the meat either. So let that sit for a short bit. I'm running out of room because there's a bit too much meat in there. Because there are a few other ingredients I want to stick in here. Now one of the things I like to do is throw some Parmesan right into the mix. I'm just going to sprinkle this. Now, when I was younger, probably in my teens, that would have been in the 90s. And there's a lot of talk about low-fat diets. Fat's good. We need to have fat. Fat's good for the brain. Fat's good for really all the cells of the body. Again, you have to have a good, high quality fats. So I'm personally not worried about that so much. Also, they give you more energy and make you feel more, they don't make you feel as hungry as quick when you eat them. So you feel satiated longer. The hard part is not getting drawn in by all the good stuff like junk food and ice cream and that kind of thing. And only eat when you're hungry. Stop eating when you're not hungry. Throw a little salt in there. This is the Himalayan pink salt. Again, I'm no chef, so I don't know what's best. I hear a lot of stuff about Celtic salt recently. And then you still got issues of some of these salts if they have mercury in them, and who knows these days. I like to put a little cayenne pepper in there too, just for a little kick. Oh, it's just going to add in a little tomato paste as well. Now, when I was in university, in high school, if I was just going to make my own little spaghetti sauce, I'd usually just grab a jar of like a pre-made sauce. I'd heat it up, maybe put a few spices in there, a few things like that. And fair enough, that did the trick at the time. I don't know, I like this way better. I like having some meat in there. I know when I was in university, living on my own, I ate meat very little. That was more of a cost thing. Being cheap, it was expensive. But here's the thing, I was also competing. I was on the rowing team and I was on the track team at university, and all of a sudden I wasn't getting enough protein. And so I was eating lots of vegetables, I was eating a lot of pasta, a lot of breads, a lot of carbs. And just not enough protein. I started getting injured a lot, really regularly. And you know, it's one of those things, if I could go back and do it over again, I would definitely make sure I was eating more meat. You know, it wouldn't have been as much substance for the same amount of money, but it definitely would have been a higher quality of food and more calories. And you just cut out some expenses some other ways. You know, maybe have a few less drinks, and you know, you can always find a way to cut some costs here and there and then put them to other uses. And having a higher quality diet. Mind you, again, at the time I thought I was eating well, but definitely not enough protein. Okay, so let's take a quick look at what this looks like now. So it's kind of nice looking there, but we're gonna put some cream in here now. Let's bring this back. So this is it's a full fat cream. So this is 36% fat. I don't actually know what the equivalents here are we're talking about in Canada or the US. This is just what it is here. Now, you want to put a bit of cream in probably a lot of dishes. It kind of ties everything together a little bit better. I don't know how to say that. It sticks on your palate a little bit more, the taste. Stays with you a little bit more. Has a nice aftertaste to the meal that you're cooking. So a bit of cream in there, a bit of cheese. Again, I'm going to throw a bit more salt in there. I can't say I, again, care too much about salt content. I do think it's something that some people have to pay attention to. But, you know, I exercise a lot. I play hockey usually a good 4 times a week. I'm on my feet working all day. I usually use an ice bath a few times a week. Going for walks with the dog. And fact of the matter is we need salt too. Some people run into problems with high blood pressure. I haven't really seen literature on linking it to heart problems, although that is a standard thing that's talked about, but it's not based off of all that great science. Alright, so this is what we got. And tone it down there a little bit. And I've spiced it up. Again, you can put whatever spices you want. You could put in, I just used salt, garlic, fresh garlic, pepper, a tiny bit of cayenne, and that's about it. I don't know, you can stick whatever you want in there. I usually stay pretty basic, but you can get these herbs, mix of herbs and stuff that you throw in, and do it how you like. I'm going to turn that down, let it simmer for a little bit, just to let things, all the ingredients get to know each other for a little while, and we'll get this pasta going. don't ever waste time. So the thing about exercise is you don't always have to go to the gym, especially if you're just getting started. Just find a few things and fit them in. Takes a minute here, a minute there. Is it enough? No, I guess not really. But it's getting started. Start with a couple little things that you can make a habit. Make them a habit, do it regularly. And bit by bit, add in a few more reps, a couple more sets, 1 or 2 more exercises. Stick them in here while you're cooking food, brushing your teeth, and get a little bit stronger, a little bit more fit, a little bit more resilient, and you'll be better off for it. Alright, so we're about done here. This has just been sitting on low heat for a little while the pasta's been cooking. Again, I just find that flavor's a little bit better when you let it sit for a short bit. Pasta's almost done. Another minute or 2 at the most. I don't really care much about what kind of pasta I use. This is just what was handy. I definitely like to have it, we'll say, I don't want to say undercooked, but the Italians tend to cook it less than what, at least what I grew up with. Everything I always had growing up was maybe a little bit more cooked. And I mean like everywhere, at a restaurant, home, everywhere. Italians keep it a little bit harder whenever I've gone to an Italian restaurant in Europe. So we'll just give that another minute and then we'll serve it up. Well, let the kids serve themselves up, to be honest.
Video of Putin speaking French. He said, "Putain, putain, putain." This food looks really good.
You have to taste it first.
Apple! Cobby look! Cobby look!
Oh, come on now.
Okay, I'll take that one. Come on. Let's get it. Chloe, did you get some yet?
Pitter patter.
Skitter scatter.
Chloe, why is your bowl so small?
Chloe,
I had a mango.
pitter patter. Let's get at her.
Need your vitamins, ladies.
There it is. Salutations. Excelsior. That was good.
Sally.
That looked painful.
Really hurt.
That wasn't a very good Sally.
I put so much effort.
I know, and I just heard a thud.
It's meant to be a slide, not a thud.
Welcome.
And I did it better than you did.
This?
Okay.
No, that's Hitler and stuff.
No, this.
No, Dad, I'm never gonna get a job if I do that.
No, not like that. Like this. Not the other way.
Dad is stealing this from me, by the way.
This. 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 Hold it.
He's doing magic.
Hold it.
Because of that. Oh, that's nice.
His dad took that from me. Dad, do you feel bad about it?
No. I'll take it. I feel good. It's good.
Ah!